Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Costa, and like every week, we're gonna have an episode of very important tips regarding screenwriting and, in general, nice creative tips about everything. In this episode, we're gonna talk about a big nightmare again. Like it seems like everything we do in writing is nightmare, but anyway, is the way you're dealing with that. It makes sense. Before I start, I will just like to remind you that, of course, if you like what you hear, you can subscribe and share and do whatever you want with this. This is a non-profit podcast, no advertising podcast. You can check my work and workshops in my website, www.costacalogiros.com. That's with a C. You can see it in the description of the podcast. And check some cool stuff there. Also, my latest movies and everything. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's go to the dialogue. So, seems like the biggest problem in dialogue comes to oversaying things and overfloating the dialogue with many words and many phrases and many things. So you have to do that. You not have to, but you can do that. Okay, no. Let's go a little bit the opposite way. So the only reason to have dialogue is. When you're obliged to have a dialogue, when you have the need to have a dialogue, when you want to have a dialogue, when the lack of dialogue is not enough. So we always start in the opposite direction. We always think that the greatest dialogue is the lack of dialogue. Many times actions speak really louder than words, and facial expressions and everything can convey a feeling. For example, if somebody is very sad about what they heard, they can just show this by using facial expressions and some noises, or they can put their hand in their head or they cry or whatever. This could be very powerful, could be more powerful than the dialogue. So in this case, you won't need to have a dialogue. You just express this through the body. But what works really good for me is when I write a dialogue, I always have in mind my personal, my life as a person. How would I speak in this specific case? So because most of the times what we're writing, it's us there in a good percentage. So a good rule of thumb is put yourself there, as you do it always, in the shoes of your character and talk like him, like he would do it in the streets, like he would do it in this specific situation, if he was in the police station, if he was held as hostage, if all this stuff are really important in order to have a good dialogue and, yeah, great dialogue. What I do most of the times is when I write a dialogue, I try to keep myself, constrain myself in 3-4 words maximum. And this gives me a really nice space to the things that I want to say. Of course, there are exceptions in that. But try next time you're writing a dialogue, because I told you so many times that the secret is to write fast and edit slow. That means that you're writing the dialogue as it comes. When you go back to edit, just try to limit your dialogue in less words. So try 3 or 4. And then maybe if you had a sequence in the dialogue, maybe this. I mean, for example, if you wrote a big phrase of a dialogue, like a huge, like 20 words of something that somebody says, try to break it down in 4 or 5 words, 3, 4, 5 words, and then have the other one respond, and then put the other 3, 4, 5 words, and so on. So try to split the dialogue in smaller parts. Only have a big part, a big spoken part in the dialogue, only when it's really necessary. Okay, I'm not talking about monologues, I'm not talking about these things. But if you have a very powerful thing that you want to say in the dialogue, then and only then you emphasize the dialogue. Okay? Lack of dialogue is really better than dialogue. Trust me, you will see that when you're writing the script. So, because it's really important. You see so many things, so many nice movies, they have great dialogues. If you see the Coen brothers, for example, amazing dialogues all the time. Tarantino has very trademark dialogues. I don't know. You can think about many movies. And saying this also gives you the idea of what you have to do in order to start making a dialogue. So for me, what works best is what I always say. you can mimic a dialogue, not copy a dialogue, but you can always mimic a dialogue. uh, it's really great. It will give you a first impression of how the flow will go, and to pick favorite lines from a movie that you like that is close and resembles to your own genre, and then try to mimic this thing and make it in your own words and in your own phraseology. But keep the pace as it is, the tempo. Just look at these things, observe the tempo of the dialogues. What do they say, and when do they say it? Why do they have the need to say something? Okay, try to put it as close to reality as possible. What a good writer does is that if he enters, for example, a place, a bar, a club, a restaurant, or whatever, and examines the whole place, he can go then back home, close his or her eyes, and, you know, he or she can see the whole place that he was there. Try to observe everything. Within this observation, there is a nice exercise that comes for dialogue. If you sit, next time you go to a place like that, just sit down, mark down a couple, or two people, three people that are talking, that they're far away from you and you cannot hear what they say. Try to write down what you think that they're saying throughout their body language. So observe the body language and try to think, to guess what they're saying. This is a great exercise for dialogue as well. Another thing you can do is very easy. Just flex your muscle memory, flex your writing muscle, flex your brain. Try to be more precise about the dialogue, and just write down a 500 words short story with only dialogue. You can have one character, and then character introduced, and then the second introduced, and then this dialogue starts, and then you have a third and fourth character introduced. So try to go through character A, B, and C in a short story that uses only dialogue. That's a really, really nice way of getting the habit of writing really close to reality. And what I said about the observation is really important. Next time you're out, I told you, observe. Try to guess what's going on. Or even if you just walk in the streets, try to hear the people next to you, what they're saying. What is the natural way of talking and the natural tempo, and what is the theme that they're talking about? All these things. Try to observe, hear, and let it come naturally in your writing as well. What resonates inside you, Then, of course, you have friends. You're talking also to your own everyday life with people. Just try to be as real as you can. Try to hold a proper conversation that is real between two people or three people. It doesn't matter, but try to keep it real, and try to keep only the things that they really, really have to be in the dialogue. If these things can be there without a dialogue and they can be conveyed to the audience, then don't write a dialogue. Just, I told you again, lack of dialogue is the best dialogue in many, 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 many ways. Another tip that's really interesting and really, I think I find it very, very important, is to make the dialogue and then have another person that passes by describing what they saw, what they heard. Observe this. So use the perspective of another character that passes by and that's really far. Not only that you do it yourself, that you go in a bar, as I told you before, or somewhere in any place and observe this, but also write down a character that is far from these two people that are having the dialogue, and try to write this through his eyes, how he saw this, how he saw the behavior, how he saw the body language and the actions. And this actually will really help you. It's the next level. If you do it yourself, you write it from yourself. You did it, you went there, you observed, and you wrote what you think that they're saying. But if you start writing the dialogue in your own story, in your own project that you're writing, and then you just make up a character that is just a third person that is really far, and he describes what he saw there, this will help you unlock really a lot of parts of your brain, and it will make you write more naturally and more real. Okay, these were very, very short tips that I could give you about dialogue because it's really, seriously, it's the only part that people think it's a nightmare. But for me, you have to think that dialogue doesn't need any guru, or writing also doesn't need any screenwriting guru. I'm just writing down what I found out during the process by writing so many projects. And I think that there is no secret about dialogue, seriously. I mean, you cannot have one specific answer about that. It's just that you have to realize what are you writing, and if you have, and how much weight is this on you, how much weight the dialogue must have, and then you just make a decision if you need to have this weight lifted from your shoulders or not. So if you wanna, keep, punishing yourself about writing, and I have to write this dialogue, and oh my God, they must say something here. No, there's no way, there's no reason to be, for a dialogue to be there. There's no reason. Nobody says that. Nobody says that there is a reason and it has to be a dialogue in there. Just put it there only when it's necessary. Try to limit it in less words, with exceptions, of course. That's up to you. And if they serve exposition, of course, you put it. If you need to have a style, a specific style like Tarantino has, for example, then you add it. Maybe you don't need it, so you don't put it. If the dialogue doesn't serve the exposition, don't put it. Don't suffer. Don't kill yourself. Just try to be cool about it. There are so many movies that they don't have. They have actually just a little bit of dialogue, and they're still amazing because image is really important. And if the actors are powerful and they can convey this message through their physical body and body language, then it would be great. So, depending on the project, depending on what you want to do, actions many times speak louder than words. So there are many examples of that. Let's say which ones now. I can think about many films that they have so much silence. For example, Tarkovsky uses his narrative that is more image. The image is like a character. The surroundings, the environment, everything is a character. So he uses that, for example. Dunkirk, another movie, packed with action. Everything is there. You will think, I'm sure, many, many examples like that. So just to recap, I said some exercises that you can do. Very simple, very simple. But in the end of the day, just keep this. Just focus on your script and put a dialogue there only when it's really necessary. When it comes to dialogue and when the call for a dialogue is there and very present to you and it is vibrating, then you will put in a dialogue there. Okay? Thank you so much. Next podcast next Wednesday. I'm gonna be publishing every Wednesday now. Okay, I'm a little bit. I have put it already in schedule, so I'm gonna be here every week for you. And make sure you check my website. Okay, it sounds like an advertising, yeah, but we're artists. We try to live through our experiences and through our art, which is really hard. More hard if you're from Greece, that there's no art. Actually, at this moment, the government voted that art classes and everything, music classes, are banned from the public schools because they think it's a threat. So we're living in very dark ages. And thank you very much for your support up to now. My website is kostakalogiros.com with a C. C, the first is C, the second is K. Kostakalogiros. Check the description for that. Thank you so much. Have a great week and a great day and a great life.